Hey guys, I'm sorry if this video doesn't make much sense. I was having a really bad day physically and just wanted to document it. I ended up going to an emergency clinic, which ended up being a horrible experience with a horrible doctor. So my blood pressure was 82/61, which is kind of low, not completely horrible, but what was really concerning was my pulse ox, which was only 89 with a heart rate of 82/83, which is not very good. Typically around 95-ish is when they try to put you on supplemental oxygen. And literally during this clip, I couldn't even think to say anything. I was just in this kind of like fog of just not feeling well. And my mom was looking up different things and remedies, and I was just sitting there. This was when they did the splashdown. That was this historic moment, and that was what's on TV. And I was just sitting there trying to focus on that. I was drinking Gatorade and water, and I had a ton of salt to try to increase my blood pressure. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough, and we decided to go to an emergency clinic because it was still pretty low, and that pulse ox was still really, really low. We went to an American Family Care facility, which is a little bit of like a doc in a box, but they're equipped with like emergency stuff. It was a Sunday, so unfortunately my normal doctors and things like that were not open. And my mom graciously filled out the forms for me on the iPad because I don't even think I knew my own name. But we had to wear a mask, and we sat in there in the socially distanced room. There was only a couple of other people in there with us. This blood pressure reading was taken when we got out of the facility and back into the car. And as you can see, the results were kind of staggering. It was high, probably higher than I typically see my blood pressure ever. And we were a little baffled by how my vitals could vary that quickly. And I think watching this video, my hand looks so pale, so pale. Like, I didn't notice that day, but it still baffles me. It still baffles me to this day.
There it goes.
96.
2 hours later.
Just got back from the most pointless doctor's visit ever, and that's saying something for me. So I was not feeling good, and I'm gonna put some of the small clips that I have in from that, but my blood pressure was low, my pulse ox was low, and so we do my usual salt, sodium, Gatorade, water, and I was doing that, and then we waited about 30 minutes, and my blood pressure had gone up from 77/53 to 84/something, but my pulse ox was still really low, and I still felt really bad. And so my mom was trying to figure out where to go to. Usually I would go and get an IV, but that place is closed due to coronavirus. And it was a Sunday, so my usual doctor is closed. And so she's calling around trying to figure out where to go and who takes walk-ins. And so we figure a place. So we get in the car and we drive. And I take my blood pressure in the car, and it had gone up. It had gone up to 89. But my pulse ox was still only 83, and I wasn't feeling good. So we go into the socially distanced waiting room. My mom fills out the forms for me, and there's only 2 other people in the waiting room, and they get called back rather quickly, and then we get called back, And we go, and the nurse takes my vitals, and magically my heart rate and my blood pressure is up to like 99 over like 72, which for me is like really good, but I was still feeling bad. My pulse ox was up to 98, but I was still feeling bad. So we go back and we wait for the doctor, and we wait for the doctor, and an hour passes. The nurse comes back in and goes, well, let me check your vitals again. And my blood pressure had gone back down to 90 over 62. And she goes, that's still low. I think you should still wait and see the doctor. Because we were ready to leave by this point. We were like, I don't know what they're going to do. They're saying the vitals are up. That's why we came here. They're not going to do anything. But she says, that's still low. I think you should talk to the doctor. So we wait another 40 minutes. So it was an hour and 45 minutes before we even saw the doctor from checking in. And we were sitting there, and he comes in and he says, oh, we just got swamped. There was all these more patients that came in. And instantly, both me and my mom get really upset because there was 2 people in front of me. 2. And they were both females. And we were waiting, and we kept on hearing male voices and a male cough and all these things, that they had patients come in after us and had seen those patients before me. And I understand I came in for low blood pressure, and my blood pressure wasn't that low, but it had been all day, like 77 over 53 with a pulse ox of 83. Like, that's not good vitals. And they had seen other patients before me. So that, I was like, Mom, I'm ready to leave. I don't want to see them. They don't care. They're not going to care. They're not going to do anything. And the nurse convinced us to stay. And we stayed. And the doctor comes in. And he's wearing a very thin gaiter with the Don't Tread on Me logo. Just throw that in there. That falls below his nose. All the nurses are wearing N95 masks. And he's wearing that. Didn't wash his hands. Nothing. He didn't actually do a physical exam on me either, which my mom would have made him wash his hands, had he. But he basically just said, you are fine. And discounted my low blood pressure up until then. And we were talking to him, and we were like, well, we think we just got scared because it was so low. And, previously I had fainting episodes, and I needed to be treated with an IV of oxygen, and we just got scared. He's like, well, it's not that low. It was never that low. I've had patients with their, dystolic in the 40s. It wasn't that bad. And saying that to someone who has dealt with this for a really long time, and who was scared, and who was not feeling good, and discounting that is not right. And I think I knew that. That's why I think I wanted to leave, is because I would have rather left than have heard a doctor say that to me. But we stayed because the nurse was like, made me feel validated. It was like, it going back down to 90 over 60, that's still low. I think you should talk to a doctor just to make sure. And he basically told us nothing. He threw all this, technical stuff at us, like, oh, well, I don't know if you know how a parabola something. I don't even know if it was parabola, but was talking about, so if your pulse ox is this, well, it's really only this, and there's no reason for you to be nervous when your blood pressure's that low unless you've got a heart aortic. It was a horrible experience, and I just feel so defeated, and I shouldn't feel bad because my body felt bad. And our readings at the time were low. And we took it on 2 different blood pressure machines and 2 different pulse ox machines, and, you know, maybe moving around, and the sodium and the water and the Gatorade helped pull it up. But to discredit someone and basically say, you're fine and we're not going to do anything and I'm not even going to look into anything. And then I asked, well, what is a number, a level that we should be concerned about? If we take our blood pressure and our pulse ox, what number should we go and seek medical attention? Never even answered that question. Just kind of did a runaround. And then he said, oh, well, you can just go and see the fire department. Said your tax dollars pay for the fire department, so go to them and have them take your vitals. Which, I guess isn't a bad suggestion, but that's not how you comfort a scared patient. So I just wanted to share this experience because so many people with chronic illnesses experience doctor's appointments like these and doctor interactions like these. And what, can only be called medical gaslighting. Really. And it makes us lose trust in doctors in the medical field, which, I've already have, but I've had positive interactions before, and getting a diagnosis, makes you feel validated, but there are practitioners that are like that everywhere. And they just need to do better. The medical system needs to do better. Doctors need to do better. And maybe he's not trained in this, and that's fine. But he doesn't need to isolate his patient. I feel horrible. And not physically. I feel horrible mentally and emotionally now. I feel like I'm not worthy. That I don't deserve help. And that's not right. But I want anyone else who is watching this, who has experienced something like this, that you are not alone. And that doctor is wrong for making you feel that way. And you have a right to answers, and a right to care, and a right to feel worthy and to feel better. And just most importantly, you are not alone. So back from the doctor, literally just like 30 minutes, and I can't put tension in my hand or it starts to tremor. So something is wrong. I can't scroll on my computer because it just starts shaking.